Fully loaded up. Some beer coming home. Beer from my friends at Brutoon. We'll talk about that. And yeah, the bar and ramps and everything in. Oh, that was a bit of an effort. So yeah, LCBF is packed in the Maverick wagon. That was a bit of an effort on my own, if I'm honest. It's hot and humid still. Anyway, time to get going. Oh god, it's nice to sit down. Oh wow. Hopefully you can hear me over the chillers, as the sound of my voice probably gives away. It's been a bit of a busy weekend. The volume in the venue was real loud, so later on in the evenings you just found yourself shouting for hours, trying to talk to customers and your mates that are there with you and people that are visiting you and stuff. But anyway, the road to LCBF, the end. How did it go? Overall, really well. Really pleased with how the beers were received. Had loads of people come to say hello. Some I knew, some I kind of part knew in the industry, but wanted to come and say hi. Also made some great friends. Massive shout out to some of the breweries. I'll try and remember all that were around us. The guys that are behind us from Double Barreled, they were awesome. Joe, and I forget his mate from Brutoon, just across the way from behind us. All came all the way down from Scotland. You guys are absolute legends. And great swapping beers and chatting and just seeing what each other's doing. I'm really sorry, everything's fallen out of my head, but the owner from Asvex, not Asvex, Abyss. Had a really cool chat. We chatted about, loads of stuff industry related and beers and all that sort of stuff. So, thank you very much for that. The guys at Brew Point, we had a great chat, swapped some beers on the end of the evening on Saturday night. Shout out to the guys at Hamilton. You were awesome. Bearwood. The list goes on. It was, so cool. So cool on that front. Johnny at Pipeline. Mate, beers are tasting great as always. Great to see you. It's been probably way too long since I've been able to get down to come and see you. So, all these guys was amazing. So that part was awesome. How busy was the event? Friday trade session was steady. Had a surprising mix of trade people, but also general public, which I didn't think was a thing, but it would appear that was the case. Friday evening session was surprisingly quiet, actually. Probably partly for two reasons. One is I don't think they hit the top of their ticket sales they wanted to hit to. But then also the weather was absolutely roastingly glorious. So much so during the day, actually the reason it was steady inside, but the trade session was outside, was like the Sahara Desert. It was brutal out there. Whereas the evening, it was that classic quintessential summer's evening weather, so everyone was outside in the outside, sat on deck chairs, drinking beers, listening to music, which, I would be doing the same, rather than being inside in an oven. Oh my word, it's just really started lashing it down with rain. I'm not sure if you can hear that. Really lashing it down. Saturday day session was ridiculous. Sold out session, 7,000 people. It was non-stop from the moment the doors opened until they herded them back out again at 4. And the 2-hour break we had between the two sessions was well needed, especially by that point. We were starting to tire a bit. It'd been a long couple of days for me and the guys that had been there for the day as well. Before we kind of powered on through into the evening session, and the best way to do that was just go crazy with some drinks. So we started a little game where people would take it, then turn and go out on little side quests and see what fun stuff you could find, and then bring it back for everyone else that was behind the bar serving, which was very cool. We had some amazing beers. Special shout out to Brew York. They furnished us, because our guys know a couple of people there. They furnished us with some absolutely epic beers, and also shout out to Siren as well. Bumped into those guys on Friday, so that was cool. Do we think it's been worth it? Only time will tell, actually. Great chatting to loads of people that didn't know we existed, didn't know where we were, didn't know anything about us. So we had a great opportunity to tell lots of people, whether they were, London-centric people or they've travelled in for the LCBF or all that sort of stuff. So hopefully from an exposure, we all know exposure doesn't pay the bills, perspective, that's going to be good for us and just good to kind of raise our profile a bit more. And, so other breweries are aware who we are. We're going to be going just over 2 years. So from that side, hopefully, really good. Did we make any money? No, we didn't. We'll get on to final costs in a minute, but so we set up a special part of our web shop. I've had some awesome help from a guy from our homebrew club. It's helped us out with our Shopify store. And we'd set up a couple of special pages with a special discount to sell some mix packs of the LCBF beers and some of our birthday beers. Downside to that was the event venue had absolutely no mobile signal or Wi-Fi coverage whatsoever. So even when people tried to buy them, they couldn't. The best they could do was take a picture, and then I think people take pictures of the QR code, they go away. You kind of lose that impetus of the moment, impulse purchase, as it were. So that side just didn't work. So actually, from that perspective, we didn't sell anything at all. Hopefully, we've picked up some good potential new trade customers, which is great because that's not something we've really been pushing for. So the trade element, that's everything from kind of Bedford, Northampton to, relatively local actually to where we are, sort of Southampton, Chichester, Horsham, around that area. So that's quite good. Bits of the festival that I think could be better. The music, I know I've said it many times, the music was just too loud. We were in the loud room. And I get what they're trying to create from a party perspective. But for us as people working there for, 2 days, 15, 16 hours a day, you just can't put up with that level of volume. I think in a normal workplace, that wouldn't be allowed. So I think that'd be some of my feedback to go back to them. The other one was our position was okay, but as you probably saw, the way you had the main kind of high street and then us, like other people facing, back to back with that look into the wall. We had quite a few people that said, we didn't even know there was breweries over this side. We just thought it was all just straight down the middle. So I think layout-wise could have been better. I don't know what the right answer to that is. I just think maybe it could have been better. Maybe could have kind of put everyone in like 4 islands or something, maybe sort of in a circle, sort of 4 blobs of breweries that way, because then you would have got more likelihood for people to kind of walk around and go around corners and discover things. And again, lighting, I get it, the party vibe and stuff, but lighting did make it a little bit tricky. Thankfully, I had a menu board printed up, and for the second day I got Charlie to bring up some fairy lights that we use in the brewery, and that lit things up, and that made a massive difference because people could see our menu board, see the beers we had, a bit of narrative about the beers. That made a massive difference. I know it's not a lot of other breweries did that actually, just relying on the little badges. So that, I think that was good from a consumer perspective. Anything else? I think they need to think about the toilet situation. We were talking to some of the attendees and they were queuing for like half an hour just to go to the loo, which isn't great. It's wasting valuable drinking time. We later discovered we had access to staff toilets out the back, which we only found out late on Saturday, so it would have been good to have known about that. There wasn't anywhere for staff or people, exhibitors, to, while the sessions are on, to just get away, just a bit of step away, get into like a quieter space. There's less hustle and bustle, less mayhem going on, and just chill out for just 10 minutes. I think that would have been really useful. I want to say staff room, but I think that would have been good. But there were few people had challenges around beer deliveries, but I mean logistically what they're trying to do and achieve is hard, and actually what they did achieve was really good. How you make that, achieve excellent, I don't know, but there's always areas you can improve on, just the same as us here in the brewery, right? It's always areas. So yeah. Then final costs. So what has it cost us to go to LCBF 2025? So pitch fee, including VAT, was £2,400. If I were to roll in getting the timber for the bar, obviously my time's free, but getting the timber for the mobile bar, making that, printing, other bibs and bobs we had to order that I didn't realise we didn't need, extra connectors, which I'm glad we took. Shout out to my mate Brooke that's lent me his other Linden machine, so we had 4 taps on, which was awesome. If you kind of rolled that into another £300, so we're sort of standing at sort of 2,700. Expenses for me, I stayed in what I would only describe as like a murder Airbnb and an HMO, which was, I mean, I literally got there, put my head down for 6 hours, showered and straight back out again. So that was £100. Obviously I've got to pay for Charlie's time and Kirsty's time for coming up, for doing like a 16 hour day. And then shout out to Charlie's mate Ollie, who came along for the day. I'll have to pay his expenses for coming from Bristol over to London for that. Obviously you've got the bonuses. There's basically limitless free beer, which is always good, and really interesting beer at that. The beer actually at LCBF That's one thing I must say. The quality and standard of the beer and variety was outstanding. I think everyone should be really proud of the UK beer scene, because there are some absolutely outstanding breweries out there smashing it out of the park, and they were just the people at LCBF. Anyway, and then a massive shout out to Joff and Dan, father and son pair that come into the tap room, supported us massively. They always attend these sort of things themselves, but wanted to come along, wanted to help out. So they came in as staff, and they actually ended up being there all day Friday, all day Saturday, stayed over themselves. I'm going to have to give them a little special thank you in some way, shape or form as well, for just being utter legends and helping out right to the death on Saturday until I literally had to kick them out the door to go and catch the train. So, you know, you roll all of that in. I reckon we're in for about $3,500. Which it comes straight off the bottom line. None of that's deductible apart from the VAT on the pitch fee. Don't get me wrong, we had a great time. It was a ball. I've never done anything like that before, and it was great. But that is a lot of money to spend as a small brewery. That would probably be half of a new tank. We don't need another tank at the moment, but I'm sure something's going to break soon, and something will need paying for. So watch this space on what we see return-wise, I think is probably the best way to put it. Do we see an uptick in sales online? Do we see an increase in interest around the website? People coming into the tap room? You know, all that sort of stuff. You know, let's see, shall we? Let's see. And yeah, so that is kind of it. I guess one last question is, would we go again next year? If I think it will help us continue to grow and get recognised for what we're trying to do, the beers we're trying to make, then yes, I would, if we could afford it. I think now I kind of know what it is, what you need to prepare for, what you want to do. I mean, we've learned a lot, by the way, of doing this event about, you know, what to do, what not to do, what to take, what not to take. Little thing was, I thought at the last minute, I just sort of thought I'd sling a couple of our little kind of stand-up kind of bar stools in the back of the van when I was loading it up. Everyone was coveting our stalls while we were there, because we could sit down. Everyone else is standing there for like 15 hours, and in between people serving, you can actually take the weight off your feet. So that was a bit of a thing. So yeah, would we do it again? Yes, probably would. If I thought it would continue to help us grow, get recognised, you know, all that kind of stuff. And it was great fun. So thanks for watching the Road to LCBF 2025. What a ride. I'm looking forward to, I've unloaded the van now, cup of coffee, sorted a few things out here. We've got some kegging to do tomorrow with Kirsty, take her through that. She's able to CIP the tanks, and I'm going on holiday for 3 weeks, so there might be a little bit low on the older uploads and videos for a little while, but I'm going to be just taking a bit of a break, getting refreshed, relaxed, recharged, and ready to come back with Kirsty, and we're going to start brewing, start smashing out some more beers. So yeah, it's been good. So most important thing, you can buy all 3 of those beers that we've had at LCBF on the online web shop right now in can. So we've got Smoosh, Big Bird and Low Tide. We've also got all of the birthday beers. So we've got Luna, Organised Chaos, and the names escape me. Whatever it is, I can't remember. Plus, you know, drawing pictures of mountaintops, Wonderment, Sunny. I'm looking across at the fridge now, Horizons. Got a small amount of pictures left. If you like that, get involved. A small amount of Horizons, which is the Talus in El Dorado. Hazy Pale, 4.8, which is pretty good, actually. So, yeah, go on, dig in, get involved, and buy some of those and experience LCBF yourself at home. Thanks for watching. And we'll see you very soon.